Hey, Bruno here. Summer this year has brought on a lot of challenges. Everything from extreme heat advisories, smoke clogging the air everywhere you go outside, parasites crowding your lettuce, waiting for you to make one accidental bite and then spend the next week on your toilet. However, with these challenges, you can't really go outside. So what have I been doing? I've been gaming. And with this gaming I've been doing, I've been returning some old games I've used to play back in the day. One of those games, and this has been the big one, is Dead by Daylight. If you don't know what Dead by Daylight is, it's the 1v4 asymmetrical horror game made by Behavior Interactive. Known for having a very just loving community. But with this video, I didn't want to just show some boring gameplay of me getting destroyed by people who have 4 times the hours I do. So I'm instead making a tier list. And not what is the best killer tier list, what's the best perks, what's meta. No. My killer tier list is what is the best killer for feelings. What killer makes you feel the best? And I'll explain it more when we get into the video of the tier list. But for now, I just want to give a basic detail intro. So, with that being said, let's get to this tier list. Okay, so here is the tier list I was talking about. We have every killer in the game right now, from Trapper all the way to Jason, who just released about a month ago when this video is being recorded. Like early June. Yeah, that makes sense. So here are the tiers. We have our S tier being, oh yeah. These are killers that when things go right, you just feel so good. You feel amazing. Everything just feels right with the world. You're at peace. Then, A tier, or in this case, that felt good. These killers don't make you feel like it's heaven. Doesn't give you like that euphoric, amazing feel, but it feels pretty good when things go alright as this killer. Then we have a sort of our C tier, which is just, it's alright. Nothing special. Get the job done. You don't really feel one way or the other. It's okay. And then you have boring, which is essentially our D tier. No. This is our B tier. This is our C tier. Boring is our C tier. These are killers that just aren't that fun to play. They're not really like that fun. They don't really make you feel good. They're kind of just there. And then we have feels trash, which is essentially this killer doesn't feel good at all. They feel really, really bad. A good example could be like a killer that even when you are absolutely stomping the game, you don't feel anything. You don't get any of that joy or that feeling of, oh yeah, this is a good game. Or like, oh yeah, I'm getting good at this killer. You just kind of feel bad. But with that being said, let's start with our good boy, the Trapper. Original killer, face of the game. Now, here's the thing. If this were a tier list based on how good the killer is, Trapper would be going no higher than like a B tier. But because this is on how a killer makes you feel when things go your way, Trapper goes into oh yeah, because, and I will say this from personal experience, there are very few things more satisfying in this game as a killer than you looking for survivors, and then you hear that pop, you hear that scream, and you see their aura on one of your traps because they've stepped in it. That feeling is so good. It's actually like an amazing feeling. Most killers can't even fathom what that feels like, and it's amplified by survivors stepping in more traps. Like, let's say you hook somebody in the basement, and you trap the basement and around the basement, and then everybody walks into a trap. That is such a heavenly feeling, amplified by the fact that Trapper is considered by most people a bottom 3 killer in the game. It just feels so good, man. So good. Anyways, moving on. Wraith. Wraith doesn't go and, oh yeah, Wraith's not that good feeling. But getting successful hits off and successful hits at loops, it can feel good, but I'm gonna put Wraith and it's alright, just because based on the power alone, there's not much of that good feeling you do with Wraith. The only thing that really feels good with Wraith most of the time is when you are running Shadow Dance and you are kicking pallets at the fastest you've ever kicked. You're running add-ons, which, to be fair, Wraith has a lot of very good add-ons. It just doesn't feel like euphoric or anything. I could put Wraith and make a case for that felt good, but Wraith is kind of just an it's alright feeling. Hillbilly. Hillbilly goes in oh yeah. Oh yeah, purely because, one, chainsawing across the map without hitting anybody is already such a great feeling, because the chainsaw rev can be heard across the map. So you know for a fact that when you are chainsaw revving, you've got the survivors paying attention. You know survivors are freaking out if they're new, they could be scared, because that's what new players all do, let's be real. But when you do hit somebody with your across half the map chainsaw, you feel just so good. Because one thing I will tell you right now, if you're a new player to Dead by Daylight, both sides really like trick-shotting and difficult hits. Hillbilly players love doing like across-the-map chainsaw trick shots, trick shot chainsaw insta-downs around tight loops, and survivors love going against that stuff, because when they get away, like, oh my gosh, I just beat this insane hillbilly. But when they get hit, they go, you know what? That's fair. That was impressive. Hillbilly is just one of the best feeling killers in the game. And that's never going to change unless they nerf this man into oblivion again, which would be a shame. Nurse. Nurse, that felt pretty good. Here's the thing. Nurse can make it to oh yeah if you are consistently the best nurse player in the game. But not everybody can be the best. Everybody can be good, but you can't be the best. So, with that being said, Nurse can go and that felt pretty good, because even if you're not pitch perfect, being able to phase through walls and loops and hit somebody in of itself is a pretty good feeling. Now, with that being said, is it the best feeling in the game? No. But it feels good when you pull it off. The reason why it'll feel good, because Nurse has the highest skill ceiling in the game. She is very hard to learn. So when you do learn and you start getting good hits and you start feeling confident in yourself, you feel good about how you're playing this killer, that's when the good feels start to arrive. Before you get good at Nurse, playing Nurse is going to feel trash. But when you can get to a good enough consistency rate of hitting, you will feel pretty good. Okay, moving on. Myers. Good old MacLeod. before the rework, it would have gone boring. Maybe it's alright. But after the rework, I'd still say probably it's alright. Because fundamentally, he didn't really change. Change is not the word I would use. It wasn't like a insane rework. They just made it so he could switch between Tier 1 and Tier 2. And then Tier 3 wasn't just insta-down on M1 hit. It was, you have like a pig dash. You have a pig dash, but it insta-downs. And even though that's cool and it can break pallets and stuff, it's not that amazing of a feeling. I also personally think it's a huge disservice to Michael Myers as a character, but that's a conversation for another day. I do think Wraith is low. No, Myers is higher than Wraith, because Wraith can't do a dash and break pallets. Wraith just kind of cloaks around the map, hits people with his short little dash, and then moves on to the next hit or chase or whatever. Myers, getting an insta-down before and after his rework can feel pretty good, and if you're running Scratched Mirror, that's where the real joy comes in, because if there's one thing all Myers love more than anything else in the world, it is to jump scare every single survivor they even get close to. If you went on Twitch and YouTube and you counted the amount of people who post videos of just running Scratched Mirror Myers and jump scaring other TTVs, we'd be here for a long time. Anyways, Myers, it's alright. It's whatever. Hag. I'm gonna be honest with you. Hag is boring. Hag's not necessarily bad. Hag does struggle nowadays, because, you know, most people know how she works. She's been in the game a long time. But you don't really get a feeling from anything. Like, if somebody steps into a trap, it's not like a satisfaction of a trapper trap. Because a trapper trap, they are stuck there. You get to walk up to them while they're stuck in the trap, and you get to hit them, you down them, you hook them. Hag's trap is, you get a notification, you press a button, you chase them for like 10 seconds, and you get the down unless they're next to a strong pallet or loop. It's nowhere near the feeling of Trapper. Hag, when you do the body blocking strategy, that can feel kind of good. Like when you run those add-ons that says she can't teleport, but they have collision and all of that. That build can be okay, but also there are times where you will end up trapping yourself because of how you placed your traps. So yeah, Hag kind of just goes in boring. Doctor feels trash. I know a lot of friends personally who simply refuse to go against Doctor, and they will preach that Doctor is powerful. Doctor feels awful to play as. He used to feel even worse. I don't know if anyone remembers, but if you played back before 2019, you'll remember that Doctor used to have to switch between his Shock and his M1. He couldn't do both simultaneously. So, that eliminated a whole entire feeling of just playability, in a way. But more importantly, post-rework, he just feels weak, man. He doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good at all, because this is how a Doctor game goes. You load into the game, you do your across-map shock, go after whoever's closest or whoever's on the gen. You find them, and then you kind of just chase them around the map and hope that you get a good timing shock. But the shock doesn't even do anything anymore because they increased the amount of pallets. So, if you shock them, they just run to the next pallet and you do the whole cycle on repeat. There's not like a good feeling that can come from that. So, Doctor just feels bad, and a lot of people hate Doctor, but honestly, he needs a buff. He needs a buff. Problem is that you can't buff Doctor without making him feel oppressive as hell. So that's a behavior thing for them to figure out. But in terms of how he feels in game, pretty bad. Huntress. Remember what I said earlier about survivors and killers liking trick shots? You know exactly where Huntress is going. Oh yeah, because Huntress trick shots can feel so good on hits. You know it's a good feeling because there are so many YouTube videos of just orbital strike hatchets, right? Ultimo Bushido, Coconut, Otstarva's done it for a little bit. I'm sure Hens has done it. So many DBD creators love trick shot hatchets. You run an aura build, so you can see the survivors almost anytime you want. You throw hatchets across the map, you hit them, you down them. If it's a TTV, they get a good reaction out of it. It's a win-win for everybody. And it's just, oh, it's so good. But you know who doesn't feel good? Bubba. Well, actually, here's the problem. Bubba can feel really good, but it's really hard because Bubba kind of can just get beat by like 1 or 2 perks, so you don't get a chance to have that good feeling. But when you have that feeling of like insta downs, or if you're like Epidemi, where you do the whole Bubba goes where he pleases and you down everybody because you have Eerie Flesh, that's like an amazing feeling. But most of the times, you might not be running Eerie Flesh. And you might just go against people with Sprint Burst and Vigil, in which case, every chase is a nightmare. But I think I'm going to put Bubba in That Felt Good, just because insta-downing more than one person in a chainsaw sweep is pretty nice. It does feel pretty damn good. But it could be better. Moving on, because I think we've talked enough about Bubba. Freddy. Freddy's boring. I don't like Freddy as like a character design in this game. He's never felt good. He's had times where he's been strong. He's had times where he's been weak. He started off as the worst killer in the game at the time, because you couldn't hit them unless you got them asleep with your power. Then they reworked him for like a solid week or 2. He was the best killer in the game other than Nurse. And then he got reworked again. And then he got reworked again. And the most recent rework, I don't know when that is, but now the Dream Snare, it's not like a trap you place on the ground. It's like a circle on the ground that you shoot forward in a line. And you have the Dream Pallets as well. But here's my problem, right? And I figured this out by accident while playing Freddy. You can get stunned on your own Dream Pallets. I think that's stupid. Why are you able to get stunned on your own Dream Pallets? I'm sure there's an add-on for that. If there's not, that in itself feels pretty bad. And there's not really a feeling you get from successfully hitting someone with your snare sphere of doom, and they get hindered for like, what, 5 to 8 seconds? He just feels boring. He's more boring than Nurse. Or sorry, not Nurse, Hag. Hag will feel better, because when you can get a successful body blocking build, it can feel good, kinda. But Freddy, nothing about Freddy feels good. Okay? I want to make that clear. Nothing about Freddy feels good, and nothing about Freddy will ever feel good unless they rework him for what would be the 5th time. Which is never going to happen. Let's be real. Anyways, moving on, because that's enough me absolutely just saying anything negative about Freddy. Pig. Pig feels bad. Not as bad as Doctor, because Pig at least has a better chase power, but Pig still feels pretty bad. And I say that because, one, your dash isn't even that powerful anymore, since nerfing Pig is like a meme within the community for very important reasons. Also, the reverse bear traps, they don't really have an effect like that. Like, watching someone die from a reverse bear trap is a very good feeling, but it almost just never happens. It doesn't happen anymore because most survivors know how to counter. I mean, I get the purpose of it is, oh, they get a trap on them, they're gonna go try and get it off, so they're not doing gens, but it just doesn't feel that good. And I don't know if it's like that for anybody else. It just doesn't feel that good for me. Clown. Here's the thing. I used to really like Clown. When Clown first released, he was my favorite killer in the game. However, they have reworked and nerfed this man into oblivion so many times that he's kind of just alright now. Like, the hinder bottles can feel good, but they don't last anywhere near as long as they used to. And the speed bottle can also be good, but the thing with Clown is that most of the time you will fuck up the speed bottle, and you will end up giving haste to a survivor before you give yourself haste. And then you've just cost yourself a chase. And now the hinder bottle only lasts for like, what, a few seconds? It just doesn't feel that good. But it is what it is. Rest in peace, Clown. 2025 or whatever. 2026. You will be missed. We will never see you return. But let's move on to a better experience. Spirit. Here's the thing with Spirit. Before the nerf, Spirit was definitely an oh yeah. Because pre-nerf Spirit, what you would do is you would run the add-on that makes it so nobody can hear your little shifting at all. You couldn't hear it. Nobody knew that you were phasing, so you would phase to a gen, and you could just grab them off the gen. Or, if you ran the no phase sound effect add-on, you could fake phase at a pallet, they vault the pallet, and as they're vaulting, you just grab them. It's a great feeling. It felt so good, so good. But they nerfed Spirit, so that's not in the game anymore. You will always know when she's phasing. So, she has to go down a tier. Getting successful grabs and all that still feels pretty good, but it's kind of like, oh, They just weren't paying attention. Because before, you could do it to anyone. Because obviously, nobody could hear the phasing. But now that people do hear the phasing, you're only really going to catch off guard the, nice way to put it, the weakest of survivors. And it's just something you're going to have to put up with. You can still pull off really good things with Spirit. Spirit can still feel really good. But it's never going to beat Spirit at her peak of just euphoric feeling. Legion. I'm not going to lie with you. To this day, I do not understand this killer. I know the goal is to run around hitting everybody, and then you can get it down after you've hit 4 different survivors or whatever, but I don't see the fun in that. It's more fun than Hag and... Wait, hang on. Hag and Freddy. He's more fun than Hag and Freddy, but it's not that fun of a feeling. It's not that good of a feeling. You just run around the map, you hit some people, you can down one of them, you vault some pallets, you vault windows fast in your power. And Legion's never really been that good. The only time Legion was really ever good in sorts of like feeling was when you could do the whole not actually look at them and chase, so you wouldn't be actually in chase. And then you could just hit them. I don't remember what the exact tech was, but it was like moonwalking, looking down, follow the blood. It was something absolutely broken and unfun, but most people couldn't do it. But Legion's always just been kind of boring. I don't think that's going to change. Plague. Here's the deal. Green vomit. 1, that girl nasty. 2, not nearly as strong as it used to be. Old Plague used to be able to just vomit a ton on one person and they would immediately be broken. Now it's like a timer, you have to wait. But when you start vomiting that blood though, and you get those hits, it can feel so good. The problem is that liquid physics like that in this game have never really been fleshed out until lately. So Plague can kind of just go in like, alright. She's above the Clown. She's above Wraith for sure. Actually, I'd say she's above Myers too. Because getting successful hit with your corrupted vomit, you feel proud of yourself. You just feel proud of yourself. And it's a good feeling to feel proud of yourself. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you potentially the worst feeling killer in the entire game, Ghostface himself. Reasons why Ghostface feels trash and awful and unfun, and every negative word I could say about a killer gameplay. 1. You don't really get to use your power. You maybe stalk someone to 50%, 90%, 99% if you're lucky, or you play things right, but most of the game it's gonna be you stalking someone, and then survivors from like these crazy angles where they can't even see you are just gonna be able to reveal you in your power, and then your power's gone. And you can't do anything about it, because the cooldown is long. It's a long cooldown. So, when your power is so easy to break, most of the time you are just an M1 killer with no power. And to me, that's one of the worst feelings in the entire game. At least Trapper has a power that he can do in chase and not in chase. Billy can use it in chase and not in chase. Huntress has a power where you can snipe across the map. Legion, chase power. Ag, chase power, also setup power. Freddy, power that doesn't get reduced to ashes 90% of time in game. Pig, crouch whenever you want. Doctor, shock whenever you want, even if it's not really that good. Ghostface, you go into power, you stalk for like 10 seconds, and then you get revealed, and you're wondering how somebody revealed you, and it's just that survivor crouching from like 20 meters away. Worst feeling killer in the game by far. I don't think there's going to be anything that beats Ghostface for the worst. Ghostface feels just pretty awful. In every shape and form. And that's also a reason why he's considered one of the worst killers in the game. He just feels so bad. Sorry. I need to go get some water, but we'll be moving on from here. Okay. We're back from that. Anyways, where was I? Demogorgon. Demogorgon just feels alright. In between Wraith and Myers, I'd say. I mean, what is there that feels good about playing Demo? When your shred hits somebody, that can be satisfying. Breaking pallets, it's a normal thing that happens. It's just faster. Portals, kinda. Not really though, because your portals can be disabled if survivors are pretty well coordinated. Nothing special. Just enough tools to let you get kills and have fun, I guess. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put Wraith above Demo. And I'm going to put Wraith above Myers because Wraith, at least when getting a successful hit on a loop, feels really good. And the reason I say that is because Myers, you have a dash. Demo, you have a dash. Wraith is literally you uncloak and hope that they mistime you uncloaking, so you hit them through the pallet, or you hit them at the window, etc. However, with all that being said, Wraith is not above Plague. Ranged power, hitting ranged powers, feels good. Unless you're Clown, because it does literally nothing. Same with, actually, we're gonna put Freddy above Ag, and actually, no. We're restructuring this whole tier. Freddy can go to the top, Legion goes below Hag. Now I can move on. Oni, S tier. Oh yeah. 1, when Oni gets enough blood charges to use his rage power or whatever, the global noise across the map terrifies survivors to some degree. That's a good feeling. 2, your demon dash. Demon Dash halfway across the map, insta down a bunch of them because it's also AoE. That feels pretty good. You have your basic M1 power, which insta downs, also really. Everything about Oni just feels good, man. Obviously, you have to wait to actually get the blood charges to use your rage power, but when you use it, euphoric. It's euphoric in a way. I don't think it's a better feeling than Huntress, Billy, or Trapper, though. And honestly, I don't think anyone's going to beat Trapper, because walking around the map chasing somebody, and then you hear 2 traps go off, and you hear screams, to just see someone stuck in your trap, you can just walk over to them and hit them for free. Such a good feeling. Death Slinger. Harpoon Slinger, as I call him. I mean, here's the deal, right? Shooting people with the harpoon through a window, reeling them in and hitting them at the window used to be fun. But now it's just kind of boring. And he's not really, like, that boring of a killer. It's just his power, basic. Everybody understands it now. Don't get hit. Punishes you for being greedy, etc. I like him. It's a ranged power, so it has to go in at least alright. Let me put him above Plague. Hang on. He's at least above Plague. Or around Plague. I could make a case for him to go into That Felt Good. I don't know. I think we'll keep him here for now. Pyramid Head. 8. That felt good. Why? Why is Pyramid Head this high? 1. Pains on the ground. Survivors are so scared of getting afflicted by your power, they will not walk in the chain unless they absolutely have to not die. And even then, they still might not go through it. They might just take the down. So, there's that. 2. Your hold right-click ranged attack. When you can hit that, it feels so good. Especially when it's like a survivor who like teabags you at a window, or they teabag you at a pallet. They run to one direction, then you just hold right-click, lift up the sword, and they go down. It's so good. It feels amazing. As a matter of fact, I think it's a better feeling than any nurse hit ever. Because with nurse, you need to just bear the awful gameplay that's going to happen at the start when you try to learn how to play nurse. But with Pyramid Head, most of the time, you can learn that ability pretty easily. Just gotta know when to use it and when to go for the M1. And once you figure that out, you're pretty much set and you can just go on and cause carnage and mayhem. Blight. Blight's an oh yeah. The adrenaline boost from bumping into a wall and running across the map and hitting somebody with your cane or whatever weapon you have in his hand. Feels pretty fucking amazing. He's up there with Oni. Because he's a rush killer. You gotta remember. There's different types of good euphoric feelings. There's good feelings you get from hitting trick shots. There's good feelings you get from watching survivors just fall into your master plan. Like Trapper. And then there's the good feeling of rushing somebody down to just hit them and down them. Oni goes a little higher because Oni is insta-down. Blight is not insta-down. Huntress can kind of go wherever in this tier, except for above Trapper and Billy. I think Trapper and Billy are two of the most satisfying killers in the game. Because one, it's a master plan feel kind of good. Where you place all your traps, you chase them around, and then you watch as everybody walks into your traps and your master plan unfolds as you just get to run from trap to trap, hit people, they're close by, you can get multiple downs, multiple hooks. I've had many games where the exit gates are open and they run to the exit gates and they're about to get out, but then they run into that one trap I've placed in like the in between the exit gate and the actual exit to the lobby. They run into that trap, you hit them, and if it's the last survivor, you can mori them. It's such a good feeling. And with Billy, you chainsaw rev across the map. See, here's the thing. Billy gets number 2 spot because he has both the components of a Huntress or Jason, like trick shot good feeling, and the rush down feeling of like a Oni or like a Blight. Because he can insta-down, go across half the map, and you need skill high enough to where you can go around these complicated loops in one single go. Because Blight has to bump into a wall. With Oni, you can simply slow down. With Billy, you keep going until you stop. And when you stop, if you hit a wall and you bump, you stop for a solid 2 to 3 seconds. So there's the trick shot component. And Billy is a combo of rush down and trick shot. So he's always going to be number 2. There's arguments for him to go above Trapper. But Billy's one of the best killers in the game. Trapper is considered the worst by a lot of people. So when you do successful master plans as Trapper, and everyone's like, how did he do that? Best feeling ever. Okay. That's enough of glazing Billy and Trapper. Let's move on. Twins. I mean, Twins is like, it's complicated because with Victor, you can either be the server lobby admin and you can feel great doing it, or you misplay and Victor gets bullied back to his conjoining spot with forgetting her name. Anyways, moving on from that. Twins. Getting good hits with Victor can be satisfying, but She's like middle of the pack. Yeah. Honestly, no, I think she's kind of boring, actually. I think she goes in boring. And you kind of just, like, don't really feel anything from it. Because Victor hits can be cool and all, but after the Victor hits, like, what do? You walk up, you hit him. Without Victor, you are essentially an M1 killer, so if Victor gets bodied early on, it feels pretty bad. Trickster. Trickster, K-pop legend. Here's the thing with Trickster. Before the rework, Trickster would have gone in a pretty low tier here, but I've actually been really enjoying him post-rework. Oh, sorry. And some of the really good feelings you... Hang on one second. I gotta pause.
2 hours later.
Okay. Oof. Sorry there. Started dying there for a second. Anyways, that's enough about twins before I start forcing myself to coughing again. Nemesis. Zombies. Certain maps, zombies feel oppressive for the survivors, in which case, you get to watch the zombies actually do their work. When they do, it's pretty epic. Nemesis himself, you have the tentacle whip, you can break the pallets. The hitboxes around certain loops are kind of buggy. So there's some satisfaction lost there, but when you can get good hits, it's an okay satisfaction. Fully not recovered from what happened during the twins discussion. But we'll move forward with it. Nemesis goes in, it's alright. I think he's between Nurse, or sorry, why do I keep saying Nurse? He's between Plague and Death Slinger. It really just relies on the map. Because if you get a good map, zombies can do so much, but if you get a very open map, zombies aren't really there for most of the game. But he still has his main power, the whip, which in chase can be very good. I just wish they fixed the hitboxes a little bit on certain loops. Anyways. Is this Pinhead? Yes, Pinhead. Rest in peace. Hasn't been a viable DLC for like a year. He feels good. I like him. I wouldn't say he's like top tier. He's not like that felt good, but he has been like alright. I think he's better than Clown and Demo for sure. I don't know if he feels better than Myers in terms of satisfaction. But hearing you open the box and I came every time you teleport to somebody with the cube is a pretty dope feeling, even if it leads to an absolutely awful chase. We'll put, actually, yeah, he's above Myers. He can stay, like, right here, in terms of satisfaction. Artist. Artist is a weird one. I used to really enjoy Artist when she first came out. You take your crows, you cover a gen, you shoot the gen. There's people with all these crows flying around them. You send some more. You trick shot a crow. Somebody gets injured. If you're lucky, they get downed. But now she just feels kind of boring. And other than, like, anti-loop chase, power doesn't really do anything. I guess that's how I put it. Is Artist, you don't really feel like your power does anything other than placing it at a loop mid-chase. In which case, the survivor will usually just hold W to the next loop while you're placing your crow, and then you rinse and repeat. Nothing special. Sadako. I haven't played Sadako in a while. The last time I did play Sadako, it was kind of boring. Because with Sadako, you teleport to TVs, you can go invisible, you kind of just passively corrupt people. Or you give them status effects, and then once they get high enough, you can just mori them. I still don't fully understand how Sadako works to this day. I understand Legion more than I understand Sadako. And you can't really feel satisfaction from anything if you don't understand how it works. So I'm going to put Sadako at the bottom of boring, which I have a feeling a lot of people are going to get mad about, but it is what it is. Dredge. Dredge actually feels pretty good. Teleporting to lockers, nightfall, they can't hear your terror radius, you don't really get seen until you get up close, unless they have their brightness turned up, in which case, good on you. You're blinding yourself. Fast teleports in Nightfall. You have a pretty decent power for loops, which is you put like your little thing down, your remnant or whatever, and then once they go around next to it, you just TP and hit them. That's the thing with Dredge. Dredge, low-key, is a really good feeling, one of the best feeling killers in the game. But the problem is, most people don't know how to play him, and there's a lot of people who know how to play against him. And lockers. Locks. When you see locks on the locker, you know you're going against a Dredge. What do you do when you go against a Dredge? You lock a locker next to your gen. So that way, mid-chase, which Shaq will be used a lot for mid-chase, he can't just teleport into Shaq immediately and walk out and hit somebody in Shaq. The lock will give enough time to where somebody can get out. But regardless of locks being a trouble to your plans, your master plan in a way, that's the thing with Dredge. Dredge is a master plan satisfaction. He's like Trapper in a way, of master plan satisfaction. But Trapper is the king of, I'm satisfied because my master plan worked. Dredge doesn't have traps. Dredge is just, I teleport to lockers and I have a small anti-loot power that can be pretty effective since most people don't know how to play against me. But it's okay, it's cool. He's not higher than Nurse or Pyramid Head. Is he above Bubba? I think he's above Bubba. I don't know. That's a conversation that will have to be had another day. Wesker. Wesker feels pretty damn good, I'm not gonna lie. The dash, the grabbing people, smacking them against walls, throwing people into walls, throwing people into other survivors. They both get injured. Even though it's rare that it happens, it does happen. It's an amazing feeling. When you are playing Wesker and you get moments like that, you feel like a god. I'm not joking. When you are playing Wesker, you grab a survivor with your power, throw them into another survivor, and you injure them both. You feel like a god. You do. And that's a powerful feeling. Not everybody deserves that feeling. But when you do, it'll get to you. Trust me. Also, it's Wesker. He's got amazing quotes. Pretty sure they used the same voice actor as they did for the game. He has special Mori lines for Chris and Jill, I think. Resident Evil survivors. He's just amazing, man. Knight. Here's the thing with Knight. Knight doesn't actually feel bad, but he's boring so much that he kind of is just going to go in that tier. Knight, here's my opinion. Other than Skull Merchant, who is also going to be going in this tier, Knight and Skull Merchant are two of the worst designed... Actually, they're not even of the worst. They are the two worst designed killers in the game. Their designs are awful. There's nothing fun about them for either side. And since their powers were so boring and oppressive at the same time when they first released, they both had to be nerfed and gutted into the ground. And Knight hasn't even really been nerfed or gutted that much. But he's just so boring. Placing other minions to do your work is just not fun. It's boring. It's one of the most boring things in the game. Everybody hates going against it. It just sucks. And the thing is, the Knight gets a lot of cool cosmetics, because, you know, he's a Knight. Armor. Armor is cool. People like armor. People like how armor looks. But when you have that aesthetic and that cosmetic that everybody loves, and you put it on one of the worst designed killers in the game, it feels bad. They need to rework this man so bad. He needs like a full rework. He needs potentially one of the biggest reworks in the game. Skull Merchant, they reworked her like 3 times, and every time they've reworked her, she has gotten worse and worse and worse. Now she's one of the worst killers in the game, and she's unfun for either side. As a matter of fact, I think Doctor's more fun than both of them. Doctor's more fun than both of them because Doctor's power and get a little repetitive. But Doctor's power isn't, oh, I place like an AI guard, or I place like a standstill AI drone to just scan people and push them off objectives long enough for me to keep a game going for like an hour or whatever. No. Doctor's power, at least, can be fun in terms of, do people like going against all status effects? Do people like going against shocks? No, probably not. But Knight and Skull Merchant are just on such a low tier of boring that fundamentally I have to put Doctor above both of them. And it's so crazy too how in that streak we had Wesker, who's one of the best designed killers in the game, and then we have Knight and Skull Merchant, who are some of the worst designed killers in the whole game. Singularity. Singularity feels good. I like Singularity. He feels really good. Singularity needed to be well designed after the disaster that was the Knight and the Skull Merchant. If they made a boring killer 3 times in a row, it might have been Raps. But they didn't make a boring killer 3 times in a row. They made Singularity, who is also one of the better designed killers in the game, places this little camera of flesh on walls and trees, scans you, you get slipstreamed, he can TP to you from chase or a camera. There's a brief period where he's unable to be stunned. You feel ultra powerful, you feel giga powerful when you're in your little overclock mode. His voice lines are terrifying, which in hindsight, with all the AI crap that's going on right now, Singularity just hits even harder. And also, more importantly, Singularity's not a boring power of, oh, I place something down at gens and they kind of just do my work for me. No. With Singularity, you actually have to take time, get on your camera, scan people. There's a long recharge for scanning somebody. You can't teleport to them for a while. There's decent counterplay to the orb cameras with the EMPs. And that's another thing I forgot to mention. For a while there, Skull Merchant didn't have counterplay. And Knight, to this day, still doesn't exactly have counterplay. You have to really know what you're doing. At their strongest, Skull Merchant and Knight had no counterplay, and they were still boring as hell. Because, oh no, I gotta run away for the 10th time. You get my point. Anyways, I'm done ranting. For now. We'll see how I feel later. Alien. Alien... I like Alien. Alien feels pretty satisfying. His long-range tail attack can feel really good. Other than that, though, there's not a whole lot to him. So he's just alright. But he's at the top of alright. Actually, I feel like alright's not really a good tier for it. This is not a good... We're gonna name... I think I'm gonna rename this to... What's a good rename for this? Probably something like... Neutral satisfaction. That's what we'll call it. Neutral feeling. Neutral feeling. Yeah, neutral feelings. You don't really feel one way or another about how this killer feels. You don't really get satisfied, but you also don't really get like, oh my gosh, I hate how this killer feels. I hate how this killer plays. It's etc. You get the idea here now. I think that's a better name for it. And Alien is at the top of this tier. Because other than the tail attack, there's not much. Also, when you come out of your little, like, underground areas, most of the time it's just you being greeted with fire turrets. Actually, yeah, that does get a bit repetitive. We're gonna put him down here, and we're gonna move Myers above Pinhead. Okay, Chucky. I know some people love Chucky. I know some people really do not like Chucky. I am indifferent to Chucky. I like him, kinda. But I do have some criticisms of Chucky. But Chucky is a good example of behavior knows how to design complicated killers. Because for the longest time, people wanted Chucky in Dead by Daylight, but people were like, oh, he's just a tiny doll. How's that gonna work with how DBD works? And I don't know, man, they made it work. And he's not even a bad killer. He's actually really good. Like, you're in hidey ho mode, you do your dash, he screams, you run at someone, you hit them. His pickup animations and all that are so good, with the spirit of his human body picking people up. And Chucky the doll just gets on the shoulder and holds his knife in like a stabbing formation. It's so good. I'm gonna put Chucky in here. I think Chucky feels really good. I think Chucky feels so good. And I wish he was acknowledged more by the community. Because I think he's a top 5 killer design in the game. And I don't know if that's considered a hot take or not, but that's my take. I will stick by that. Unknown. Unknown got buffed recently, and Unknown, also really good killer design. Unknown's had some pretty good designs. It was a pretty bad period with Knight and Skull Merchant. Unknown feels pretty darn good. Especially now with the buffs. He used to felt kind of just okay. I think he goes at the bottom of that felt good, because getting UVX hits off and teleporting and all that, it can feel really good. You feel pretty nice with it. It's not as consistent as like some of these other killers up here, but the satisfaction is there. Also, I gotta move Trickster up a bunch for bonus points of when you're doing good in the mood of the game, you're at your S rank, they give you musical effects for this man when you're doing good. I think that gets a bonus. That ups the satisfaction a lot, in my opinion. But Unknown can stay here. I'm gonna move Spirit up as well. Spirit is above Bubba, I think. Who's next? Vecna. Vecna's oh yeah. Vecna's oh yeah for satisfaction, not even because of anything in particular. It's just that Vecna, D&D Vecna that is. The Lich, I should say. The Lich Power design is so good that even if you're not doing anything special, it just feels so nice, so clean. I mean, you can easily switch between his spells. It's fun for the survivors because they get to go loot chests. And who doesn't like looting? You get to fly across the map for a little bit through, well, not across the map because it's not that long, but you get to fly through windows and loops for a little bit. You got skeletons that charge at people like a shotgun. Your mage hand to lift up pallets. You're orbed, you can send at gens to detect people. He's got it all, man. And it feels just so euphoric. Because even if one thing especially isn't, like, gonna make you feel good, all 4 of his spells combined together just add such a good feeling. Like, imagine if there was another killer designed like the Lich Vecna D&D, where he had multiple spells, there was an easy menu to switch between them, it wasn't complicated. D&D Vecna might be the best designed killer in the game, no cap. And, speaking of another oh yeah feeling character, Dracula. I love Dracula in this game. Dracula is so fun, bro. Dracula is, like, the epitome of fun, but not, like, BS fun. Like, real fun. It's not boring in any way, shape, or form. There are skill ceilings for you to learn. He shapeshifts between wolf, vampire, and bats. It's well designed. When you get good hits off, it feels good. His Mori's good. His animations are looking good. His power works 90% of the time. The music's good. It makes you feel good. And Dracula overall is just a well-designed killer. I think D&D Lich is the most fun and well-designed killer in the game. For both sides. But Dracula is also up there. And that's a really good streak. Now, moving on to not as satisfactory killer, Houndmaster. Here's the thing. Houndmaster could have a lot of potential, and still does. But they gotta fix the bugs, man. Until they fix those bugs, Houndmaster is going to be in the feels trash tier, because the bugs just happen too often. They do. If they did bug fixes, or they tweaked her power a little bit, she would be so fun, man. But it's just those bugs. Those bugs make it hard to enjoy, like, any of this killer. You know who's not fun for survivors at all? And probably not fun for killers anymore either, is Kaneki. Here's the thing with Kaneki. You gotta understand. Kaneki in the PTB felt like absolute garbage because bugs. Then you get to live release. Kaneki feels amazing. Kaneki is like one of the best feeling killers in the game, one of the strongest killers in the game. There were arguments that Kaneki was better than Nurse. And there were actually credible arguments to that for a little bit. And then he was the most oppressive killer in the learn, then he was also the, like, really easy to learn. So everybody was just destroying survivors with him. Survivors hated him. Every time they loaded into a game they saw it was a Kaneki, they would DC immediately. And then they nerfed Kaneki a bunch. They had to nerf him like 3 or 4 different times for him to be quote-unquote balanced. And even in balanced form, he's still really good. But, I don't know, man. Something about feeling like Spider-Man slinging around the map feels really good. So, I'm gonna put him in oh yeah. And unless they nerf that man into oblivion, he's gonna stay there. Okay, anyways, where was I? Yes, moving on. 4 killers left. Springtrap. Here's the thing. Springtrap used to feel really good. But I played him recently, and I don't know about you, the axe feels pretty bad. However, it's not bad enough for me to put him in feels trash, but sorry there. He's not bad enough to feel trash, but he's gonna go into the bottom of boring, and I say that purely because the things that felt really good about Springtrap simply don't happen anymore. Like when Springtrap first came out, and during the PTB, one of the most satisfying things you could do was travel between the doors. A survivor would be in the security room, you get the jump scare, they're scared, you grab them and you can just hook them, and it felt so good to catch them trying to spy on you. But then survivors learned, hey, what if we just didn't interact with the doors at all? Then that became less fun because those interactions never happened. And then they nerfed him, and even with the nerfs, he's still oppressive and can be boring. Springtrap kind of just got slowly turned into another gen pressure bot, because he just goes from door to door pressuring people off gens. He has an axe, and they tried to give him like Huntress Light vibes, but the axe isn't really like Huntress because it doesn't go far. It's more of like a overarching, like, try and throw it over the other side of the wall and hit somebody. And even though he is well designed, nowadays, I don't know about you, it just doesn't feel that good. And I'm being a little mean. I guess I should put him above Sadako and Legion, because I at least know how Springtrap's power works. But it doesn't feel that amazing to me anymore. Maybe something happened that I missed while I was gone. Kresu. I was here for Kresu. What are my thoughts on Kresu? Here's the deal with Kresu. Kresu had the same situation as Kaneki, where in the PTB, she felt really bad. But then they go to live, turns out she's decently easy to learn, she's one of the most oppressive killers in the game, she was arguably better than the nurse, more than Kaneki, because Kaneki still had to kind of respect loops to a degree. Kresu's power, when she goes into like the head flight mode with all her lungs and shit like exposed, pretty gory by the way, she kind of just M1s after she infects you with her little like blood thing, which by the way, super easy to hit. You just had to bounce it off a wall and it spread so much that you were guaranteed to hit somebody and chase. You go into your head mode. Then, while you were in your head mode, if you M1'd, you kind of just slid around the whole loop, and there wasn't really any counterplay. So you just kind of got the down. That was a whole thing. And she had a movement ability with head mode. So essentially your whole game plan was infect somebody, head mode. Hit them, down them. Hook them, use your head flight mode to speed to the next loop. Go into your human form, infect them again super easily, go back into head form, etc. And the mushrooms on the ground would cure them, but they weren't exactly the most effective spawning methods. And it felt really oppressive still. That was the whole thing. So now, where do I put her? Well, now she just feels bad because she got nerfed into oblivion. She feels better than all these killers right here, but almost nobody plays her anymore. And for good reason, she got nerfed into oblivion. But it's just one of those things where you can't do anything about it. Behavior fucked up. Behavior realized they fucked up after everybody screamed at them for weeks on end. They nerfed the killer into oblivion. It is what it is. Okay. Stranger Things Vecna. Here's my view on this, okay? This killer can be very fun. However, you gotta get used to the power. And it is recommended you run aura perk build. Because if you see people's auras, it's really easy to use the power. Power can feel good. The world-ending mode or whatever, when all the lights go red, everything goes red, you have to turn back the clocks or whatever, which, by the way, happens very often, it feels really good. But then it just shortens itself because it's slowed down. Everybody kind of knows how to use the clocks now. They're pretty easy to see. But what makes him satisfying is when someone is on their final hook stage and you hit them with it, you add all the world breaker tokens, they float into the air, they're stuck, and you get an easy Mori that looks cool. And it's fun. Not for survivors, but it's fun for you. But he's not like that satisfying. So it's like a neutral feelings deal. I think every killer in Oh Yeah and That Felt Good is more satisfying and technically fun to play than Mr. Vecna here. And then that leads to us to our final killer, Jason. And I'm just going to tell you right now, Jason goes here. He's above everybody except for Billy and Trapper. Because Jason is Huntress if Huntress also had, like, Wraith Cloak. That's how I put it. Jason is Huntress if Huntress had a Wraith Cloak. Also, Jason is more fun because 1, Jason doesn't have to reload at lockers. Grabs it from the hook or the spots around the map. 2, he's fast in his Misty mode. 2, when he's in Mist mode, if he's at a window, he vaults the window. If he's at a pallet, he breaks the pallet if it's down. It feels so good, and you can hit trick shots. People like trick shots. Have you seen Ultimo Bushido's Orbital Strike Jason? There's a reason they do well. But yeah, with that being said, that's the tier list. Top 3 is Trapper, Billy, and Jason for most satisfying killers. For me, at least. You might have your own tier list with very different opinions. But these are mine. I hope you all enjoyed this little tier list video we did together, and hope you all have a good day. See ya!